Okay, so because they all saw it, right? Did you guys all see it, right? And I'm sure everybody that's listening to the show saw it. So let me just say this: big fan of having WrestleMania over 2 nights because I hated the one night 8 hour WrestleMania marathon.
Yeah.
That was brutal. Great idea.
Easier to digest for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say this, bro. I thought this when the match started. I have a feeling they're putting this match on first because people are less likely to boo because they've been sitting there waiting for the show to start and they're more energized. Great job, guys. You still got him to boo. Incredible, bro. What a weak finish. What the was that? And let me just say this. I understand. First of all, why would she distract him during the match? I know that somebody's going to say, oh, that's going to be explained later, and I'll get to that. Why would she distract him during the match, and why would he turn his back on Orton, okay? Now, people will say, oh, we're going to find out later on to create buzz. Bro, this is the show where more people are watching your show, number one. Number two, when this first started, as you know, I was a humongous fan. It was my favorite thing on the show every week. And they managed to turn me against it, okay? This was the show where you had to show improve. This was the show where you had to give me something, and you gave me that to watch it Monday again. To me, that was weak.
Yeah, it was definitely weird, and I mean the biggest reaction they got was the holy shit chant, and it was just like everything was discombobulated and. Like you said, people are saying, well, it's going to come out later that maybe they were together, that something happened. But it's like, well, WrestleMania is where you're supposed to give all of those endings. That's where you're supposed to tie off all the loose ends for the year.
Yeah.
Not only that, bro, the guy's got, I think everybody will agree with me, Fiend's got like a babyface entrance. They were popping for him.
Man. That entrance was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought everything about it.
That entrance is great, but then, for me, I started watching, Randy Orton's entrance felt like it took half an hour for him to get down the ramp.
Yeah, the new Undertaker.
Oh, man.
No, that to me,
somebody's song played twice. Was it Orton that played his song? Played twice?
Yeah, looped around 2.5 times or something.
Yeah, I was saying to the people I was in the room with, I was like, "There's no reason for this to take more than 5 minutes." Well, it went 5:50 and had the complete opposite of what I thought. I'm like, Wyatt's going to crush him, get revenge for getting burned. So you can. He could be set on fire and come back, but a single RKO put him down for the count. I was like, that is stupid. Now, what I read on Twitter, and I haven't followed this as close as some people. Someone on Twitter said, here's what happened, right? Alexa Bliss initially was possessed by the spirit of Sister Abigail. And now that she brought the Fiend back to full power, Sister Abigail has full power over Alexa Bliss and turn on the Fiend. I don't know. That's someone on Twitter put that. I was like, thanks. Like that helps.
I think it's like
for them now they have the reasoning.
Did Orton did he only do that one offensive maneuver, the other RKO? Did he get one other offensive move in the whole match?
He did the draping DDT a couple times.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was gonna say he got his ass whooped the whole time, hit one move, and then they're like he slayed the Fiend. Meanwhile, the Fiend's standing up already, looking across the ring. It's like.
And he did some moves where he did the back suplex on the table. Fiend popped right up. He did the DDT off the rope. Fiend popped right up to make him, he's still indestructible. And then 1, 2, 3.
CJ, you wanted to say something, right?
Oh, yeah. My first line when I was taking notes was that the big-ass box that Bray Wyatt was in. And I was thinking about how, speaking of Cornette, how it's automatically over because it's a box. So I kind of had like a bad omen about the match. And my other note was like a weird that weird ass finish, man. I don't get it, man, because Bray Wyatt is one of the most creative talents on that roster, hands down, and they keep up his character, man. So I'm like you, Konnan. I'm frustrated, and I'm out on this whole storyline because this is the second time where Bray has had something that's had so much promise and got the crowd over and everything. And they up. Yeah. What is it with him in particular?
You know what I think about, to your point, CJ, when I recall back in the 90s when The Undertaker was having these crazy matches and things like that. And I remember that I think it was at King of the Ring where the entire heel locker room came out to I think it was a casket match that he had I don't know if it was with Yokozuna.
It was. Yeah.
It was with Yokozuna where the entire
Rumble, I think.
Right,
where the 94.
Where the entire heel locker room came out to put him down, right? So you have Bray Wyatt who gets burned alive and then all of a sudden gets put down with one RKO. It makes zero sense.
It'd be like if Undertaker got buried alive and came back for his revenge against Yokozuna, and Yokozuna beat him in 5 minutes.
Right, with the bonsai drop. And that was it. It makes zero sense because then you don't you essentially you your entire Fiend character. Like the whole character is done.
Well, they're looks like they're changing the focus to Fiend versus Alexa, whatever that means. So,
but he could.
I don't think anybody was happy with it.
But I don't understand. Like, for example, they see something. They see that Roman was special. And they've really protected him, and right. They see Fiend is special, and they don't protect him. You know, and it's like, bro, you've got two special attractions. Protect them because they're very few and far in between. Then you finally get another act. Now you got three, and you protect those because you know they're gonna make you money, merchandising, blah 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 blah. And it's they.
And not to mention, you don't even gotta protect him because he's so creative. Just let him do his thing and just don't let him lose. Just.
Right.
You know?
He should be
more creative.
Mick Foley, man. He should be the Mankind. As creative as this guy is, they should. I don't get it.
And Mankind lost again. Mankind lost, and he was still over, and he was still able to persevere and make money.
That's a sign of a great wrestler. There are great wrestlers. Scott Hall was another one that they could lose, but they still stayed over. Those guys are special.
Flair.
Joe, what was next?
So they did one of the backstage segments with Bayley trying to talk to Hogan and Titus O'Neil. Bischoff was there. They talked about podcasts. Eric said he'd like to have Bianca and Sasha on the show, and Bayley got pissed off or whatever. That was it. You know, Brian.
So that was Bayley's WrestleMania moment.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that.
Her little old lady outfit,
yeah, the glasses. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending the titles against Natalya and Tamina, who won a match on the first night. Went 14-20, and
way too long.
I was going to say I thought it exceeded expectations just a little bit, but what did you guys think?
I think, to be fair, it was better than last
I
year.
didn't expect nothing, so technically you're right because I expect a damn thing.
Like, how did they even get thrown together? Like, I don't even understand the team.
Yeah, well, Natalya and Tamina were the pissed off veterans that aren't getting a chance, so that's why they teamed up, and they won the match the night before against all the other teams. Nia and Bayley, remember how they teamed?
Did they ever show that Heyman talking smack promo? Because that was the best build they could have done for Natalya and Tamina.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I saw it.
They didn't show it.
I saw it, but I don't know if they put it on TV at all.
Bro, all those SmackDown talks are great.
Yeah.
All of them. They're and it's so funny because the wrestlers are giving great promos here that aren't scripted. Shouldn't that be telling you something?
Yeah.
Right.
And they did it. I know we're not reviewing night one, but they did it yesterday when they had to kill time during the rain delay. They were all doing
MVP was great.
MVP was great. And you could see who can talk and can't talk.
Yeah.
And even Drew McIntyre, who got a little flustered in what he was saying, he was still able to recover, and it seemed more real and passionate.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens too.
Yeah, Drew had to recover because he started out the promo like bullying his little girl interviewer, and I'm like, ooh, that's not
That girl interviewer, she was really lost, huh? Like during that delay, the what's her, Sarah or whatever, she looked like she had no idea where she was.
She took over for the one that just left, right? Kathy Kelly just left or whatever.
Yeah, the ESPN.
Or whatever, yeah.
Charlie or something.
Charlie Kelly, I think. Yeah.
So let me see. This is what I put. This to me was not a WrestleMania worthy match. The fans were totally into Tamina and wanted to see her beat Jax and win the titles. And I don't understand why they're so invested in Nia Jax and Shayna. They're boring as they're not good together. Shayna suffers. She should be a singles.
That's one of my notes too.
I know that they like Nia, but at least now finally it was almost like people were seeing somebody Nia's. Well, she's not even Nia's size. I think Nia might legit be the heaviest person on that roster. But it was almost like
Yeah.
When you see, right, yeah, male or female. That's exactly what I have here, male or female, nothing. And so
cold ass jokes.
it's all good. And so it was almost like when you were watching that Bobby Lashley match with Drew. It's like Godzilla versus King Kong type, two I mean, it just looks.
That was a good match.
It just looks different. It feels different when you see two huge behemoths going at it. So, I thought this match was way too long.
I don't understand why they don't book Shayna like the shooter that she is, or Matt Riddle like the shooter,
like they had her in NXT.
Yeah, right, single and let her be a kick-ass heel to any of these women on the roster, man.
Riddle.
If anything, you put Nia and Tamina together, and you play into that Samoan bloodline, and
they did that.
Some badass heels.
They were a team for a while,
and I will give Tamina credit, bro. She looks motivated. This is the best I've ever seen her.
Yeah, and she's been on that roster forever, man. And I was like, what forever? Like what? Forever is like, what is her character, man? What is her gimmick? So it looks like they're finally trying to do something with her.
Her and Natalya, they debuted around the same time, and they've been around almost the same time and stuff, and their legacy and all that. I understood.
So instead of like, you know how they have the two grizzly veterans or whatever in NXT, these would be the two bitter veterans. Get off my
This match this could have been half the duration of what they gave.
A quarter of the duration.
And here's the worst part, bro. When you're in a big show like this, you want the people invested in every match. They were not invested in this, and that's their fault. You know what I'm saying?
And it was the second match in a row to me that I went, why wouldn't they just give Tamina and Natalya the moment? The crowd wanted it, obviously. What is the point of
the whole first hour of the show tonight? It was pretty brutal. Like,
it was terrible.
This took up an hour.
I thought it was funny though when Nia said, "I'm King Kong, bitch." That did make me laugh.
Or when Nia was just like calling, like screaming her spots out right on camera, like "Lay the next one in."
Yeah, I did.
Like it was like, what the.
Bro, they actually gave her a backdrop, which I'd never seen her take.
Off the top or something, right? Yeah.
The good part about them, at least, is that when they break them up, they can have a program between the two of them, Nia and.
They did the video package for Kevin and Sammy with Logan Paul. Sammy comes out and introduces Logan Paul, who comes in. Him and Paul hug. Paul gets a mixed reaction, and so it's Zayn versus Owens to go along with their feud, the conspiracy feud with Paul outside. It went 9:20. I thought it was a little bit longer. What did you guys think of it?
I had actually tweeted, why isn't Paul on commentary? He's entertaining. Yeah. Why wasn't he on commentary? Just sitting there like a jack off, like he knows how to cut a promo. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people that are in a higher position knew who the he was. The guys that brought him in knew who he was, whoever that is, but maybe like Vince and Bruce were like, well, then they need to explain to him, we're playing this guy a lot of money because of this, and put him on commentary. I don't buy that. That's
Isn't that like Triple H? And not that he's a young guy, but he's also not Vince McMahon. He's not that old. He should be up on who these guys are. I will say that like
he's in NXT.
Right. Yeah. My kids were supposed to go to sleep, and as soon as they saw Logan Paul on there, they begged me to stay up, and I had and they watched him because they know exactly who that guy. I don't know who he is.
Right.
Like I don't watch YouTube. They watch YouTube, but they don't watch WWE. It drew them in. It drew them into
just like Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
right, just like Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
So, and one thing I wanted to say, because everyone talked about having a spread across 2 nights was way better and all. I don't know as we go through here what the match times were. We'll find out. But I do know that in night 1, it said not one match went over 20 minutes. Not one match. We've been talking about matches being too long forever.
Right.
One match at Mania went over 20 minutes. You know,
they could have scraped a few minutes off the girls' match and put it on this one.
1,000%.
I was digging this match. This was
I had
like
this. One of my notes was match of the year contender, or match of the night contender.
Right.
At this point, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
that was
at this
point it was the match of the night.
Yeah.
I mean,
at this point of the show
easily,
going forward,
it was a good match. Yeah.
There's like about an hour and a half straight after this point forward where people were just laying in hard. Like from about here, the next 2 matches on, I was like, wow, these guys were really thumping each other with some stuff. Like,
and let me just say this: I thought besides the fact that the match was great and Zayn is incredibly awesome and so's KO, I thought that when they could have gotten a little bit more out of it if after the match Logan cut a heel promo on the crowd and hyped up his fight, and then he got stunned, okay? And that was kind of a funny stunner he took. He kind of leapt forward and rolled, but, you know, it was pretty animated, and I liked it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was weird the way he
Question,
took it. Like, he just bent
Yeah.
forward. He didn't even go down at all.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
looked
Took it
very
like
hard.
he took it like Van Damme would take an RKO, but it was a stunner. It's different. You're supposed
No,
to.
he just took it like somebody that's never taken a stunner and isn't a wrestler, and I like that. Yeah. It wasn't like, you know, all dramatic. It was like all up, like it probably should look like. Like Vince took one once that was brutal.
The one where he's shaking.
Like that looks like what would happen if a regular average human being
Right, exactly.
with one of the
Right,
three.
exactly.
It wouldn't bounce 35 feet upside down like RVD used to do.
Or the Rock. Remember when Rock would take a stunner
backwards?
Yeah, do a backflip.
Or Scott Hall.
The best.
He popped up so high that people eventually made like a Twitter thing about it. Memes where Austin gives up a stunner and he flies up and he hits the moon and all this.
Yeah. I had a quick question, Konnan. Like, why is it that this match was so like they laid it in, like it was rough between them? I thought, like, what is it between two friends, because they've been friends for a long time? What is it like when you're wrestling a friend that makes you like go in
because
harder?
sometimes
like, I would assume it would be the opposite.
Because sometimes when you're wrestling a guy that isn't your friend, you don't know how he might take it, right? And then he might potato you back, and now you're both potatoing each other. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you're with a friend, you just tell him, bro, let's just bring it. And you already know, you know, it's going to be very physical. And since you're boys, there's always going to be like when you're in a wrestling match and you know you're going to wrestle somebody that's your friend, you're like, there's going to be a night off, you know, because there's no ego involved, or, you know what I'm saying?
So there was a segment when they had like a slug fight in the corner, and it was like you could tell that they were hitting each other with some loud rounds.
There was an uppercut there.
But that's how much. That's how much they love wrestling. They're like, let's just bring it, bro. Let's give the people. They're expecting it. You know, they're still fans. You know, they still look at it as fans. You know, and that's what's great. I love when I watch those two guys because they're.
I think a lot of people don't realize outside of Canada here don't realize how much like regular media coverage those two guys get. That was on like the sports news in Montreal and stuff, like the regular sports news and stuff. Yeah. Like those guys bring a lot of
those
media.
guys are great.
Yeah, man, they can work together blindfolded, man.
That uppercut in the corner looked crazy.
Yeah, you could hear it. Someone got their jaw. Who threw it? Zayn.
Sammy threw it to KO.
Cracked his jaw. Man.
I would love to see Sammy win a few matches with that Blue Thunder bomb, man. Because that, to me, that's a finisher, bro. That's cool. I've always been frustrated on why he doesn't win matches with that thing, man. Because the way he delivers it, man, it looks devastating.
And Sammy's another guy, and we just mentioned this, some other wrestler who can take losses and it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Because his character's over,
right?
Man.
Well, Owens wins with the stunner. Paul mocks Zayn, who and pushes him down. I don't know why they didn't just do the short punch or whatever. Maybe they didn't trust him or whatever. Owens, gets his hand raised and turns on Paul, stuns him. Paul acts like he's knocked out and has to get helped out, which I thought was cool. And Owens goes and sees his family. Riddle. Oh, it says Tom Phillips is out for the weekend due to COVID protocols. I heard he was gone. Meltzer reported he was gone.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
He's the Raw. He's the Raw announcer. That's why Cole was calling.
There's three of them. Which one?
Right.
The boy in the middle.
The one that isn't Samoa Joe, or who's the other guy?
The generic Ken doll one.
Yeah. He's not Joe or Saxon.
They're brutal, bro. Their commentators are brutal.
He's the generic.
Bro,
boy.
did you see that commercial, which I actually thought was funny? And I could not believe it's between WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 2, how many WWE stars were like in big commercials, with their characters, It's been incredible, the scope of that company. But I did like this commercial. I like the one where Baron Corbin was a hardcore biker with the reflectors for the Snickers thing. That was funny.
Another thing was
he
that
should come out as that character. Probably get
be much
more
better.
over than the King. Yeah.
Have a better run with that.
Yeah.
But we got to find out also that Rey Mysterio is going to be on the cover of the video game, which is a great.
Even though he's not on the show itself, that's pretty nice.
I was about to say, why wasn't he on the show? Do you know?
Because they had to fit the
women's
women's
reason why?
match in there.
Because they had to fit that women's 10-woman whatever thing.
Gauntlet,
in there.
yeah. They couldn't have the gauntlet. That's so stupid. Anyway, Riddle is driving his scooter around like a goof, and he goes up to Great Khali and his manager, and they have a little bit there. And Van Dam shows up and gives him some of his rolling papers and plugs his website. So, of course, seeing Van Dam and Riddle, who people compare to him a lot together, was kind of the deal there. Then Riddle versus Sheamus. I think.
Now, I will say this. This was great for only one thing because, the new bro met the original bro.
Yeah.
And they should have had them do something really cool together. That would have been nice. But, hey, dude, how you doing? And all this that they have Riddle doing is mega whack. He's got to have some sort of heat.
Yeah, I hate it.
He deserves way better than that.
They have him do that silly and then he goes out and he works such a vicious
always.
match.
Always.
It's like Miro with the other company doing the game and he works vicious. It doesn't match at all.
I've always said go back and go to YouTube and look up Matt Riddle, the Ultimate Fighter. He broke this guy's jaw in 3-4 places. The guy didn't know what state he was in. It was one of the most vicious knockouts. I think Rampage Jackson.
The guy was like moaning and on the ground and stuff. Yeah.
Does anybody in WWE that's writing like Matt Riddle stuff actually know somebody that smokes weed? Because that character doesn't seem to
Bruce?
me that's anybody that smokes weed. You know what I mean? Like I know some weed heads and they don't act like Matt Riddle. You know what I mean? Like,
right, because that's the perception of a 70-year-old man of what a pothead's like. He's still remembering movies of like, have any of you guys ever seen Cheech and Chong?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is an over-exaggerated version of a pothead. Hey, man, how you doing? And same thing with the Matt Riddle's obviously a rip-up of Spicoli from Fast Time at Ridgemont High. Yeah. That's a movie from the 80s. Which Vince probably saw, and he probably thinks all potheads are like that because he doesn't smoke weed himself.
You look at the back of a dollar bill.
Right, he doesn't know weed smokers are cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought I thought Riddle smokes anyway, so I thought.
He does. Riddle does.
Oh, okay.
I smoked with the
from the UFC, he wouldn't give up pot, and he failed UFC drug tests for pot, and he got canned.
So then why don't they just let him smoke?
He doesn't write his own dude.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. But this was I think when we talked about it on here, we all knew that this was going to be some good stuff. Sheamus has had a great year. He's a hard hitting son of a bitch, and Riddle's in there. The only thing is, I wish they would have hit the move from the top, the finish.
Because he looked like he slipped or something.
They got
the white noise. That place would have erupted, bro.
Yeah. So they had.
He recovered pretty nicely.
Yeah, he did. But he did.
That brogue kick was
that kick at
that
nasty
brogue kick.
Let me ask you a question. Do any of you guys know where this guy is? Greetings and salutations, my cohorts. Keith Lee. Where's Keith Lee?
He did the watch along on the YouTube page.
He had COVID.
That was his role.
He had COVID a couple of months ago.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Is that why he got taken off?
He was supposed to win what title was it? The United States title, and he had COVID, so he got taken off that show. Him and Mia Yim had COVID too, so they got taken off the show. And then that's when Matt Riddle won it. So Matt Riddle wasn't even supposed to be the United States champion. It was supposed to be Keith Lee, and he's been gone since then.
Which makes sense why they gave it to Sheamus, because I was wondering why they took the belt off of Riddle so quick.
He was never supposed to be the champion. It was supposed to be Keith Lee in that spot.
Well, let me tell you something, because this match was kind of thrown together. They didn't really do a lot. It was just mostly him hitting him with a scooter and telling him to go get. But to tell you the truth, the people got into this match, even though there wasn't a real big good build for it, which shows how sometimes even without a good storyline, if you have a good match, you can get over. And Sheamus deserves it. He's worked his ass off, and he's been giving some great matches the last few months.
Yeah, he's a workhorse, man.
That flip that he did into the brogue kick, Riddle. I thought I saw him bleeding, and then
he was bleeding.
I didn't see it again.
He ain't the most charismatic I've ever seen, but his work rate is on point. Yeah,
he was bleeding. I think you guys bring it up often too. Is like when guys are hitting each other and laying this stuff in, it just brings you more into the match. because
of course.
you're simulating a fight. So
right, and you hear it. You don't have to slap your leg. You hear it.
When you're watching the match, you go, damn,
absolutely,
man.
Like when Bryan Danielson, and we'll get to that match. Like when Bryan was kicking everybody.
You heard it.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing I was thinking when I was watching this match was, especially after the last when I was on with you guys, we were talking about Walter the other day, him and Sheamus. That would be a great match. The forearms, the sound they were making, I was like, those chops and those forearms.
But imagine a match between Walter and Sheamus, or Walter and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
those would be some really good matches.
Walter and a little bit younger Samoa Joe.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Walter and Bryan.